All right, murder. Let's do it. Here we are. Murder. Tim Curry. Yes, murder. Oh my God. We are unhinged. It's the word of the podcast. So welcome. Hello. How y'all doing? How you doing? Yeah, if you are not familiar with us, you should be. We have part one of the podcast. The entire discussion of the whole episode is available as a podcast, or you can see the video if you become a marvelous member and show us your. No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't show us your marvelous member. Won't get you anything.
Oh,
I was gonna say. Anyway, you can see the full video on Patreon. If you become a marvelous member, go to patreon.com/perfectlymarvelouspodcast and sign up, and you will see all the things, all of the extra bonus content, full videos galore. So now, okay, without further ado. Oh, also subscribe, please. We're getting so many new subscribers. Last video we had 359, and now we're up to like almost 385. Last time I checked, 384.
Can we get to 400?
Could we get to
fantastic.
400? Erica, could we get to 400? Yes, we could.
Please, pretty please.
I'm shocked that we've got so many. We got like 20 new subscribers in 1 week. It's dreams come true. I know, it's amazing. So thank you so much. Please subscribe if you enjoy our content, our shenanigans over here, because we're just going to keep cranking it out. We're going to do a bunch of film reviews after this. We'll get to all of that at the end, but yeah, you can expect more from us for sure, and before we decide what show we're going to cover next. So yeah, it's all there. It's all going to be wonderful. So subscribe, like the video, 5 stars, do it all. We appreciate you. All right, I'm just like, I'm jumping like a Mexican bean over here because I just want to talk about the season 3 review. So many things have occurred. We have a murder on our hands, a murderer on the loose. We solved a murder. We did so many things. I sound like a crazy person. So let's start with my big question, like that I couldn't get out of my brain after the episode was over, is, was this an accident? Is this like a Theo? Can we compare this to the Theo situation from season 1, pushing, or, accidentally pushing Zoe off the roof, What did you think?
No, I think, well, thinking about that, I feel like the Theo and Zoe thing, that was an accident. Like, that was
totally, yeah.
Zoe was like throwing herself at him and she just like accidentally fell down. Was it more towards like a crime of passion, like where he was just angry and just got frustrated? Yes, I think it wasn't like, I want to kill you. I think he just was like, in the moment, just like had to do something, had to react to protect his mom, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think he woke up and said, hey, I want to kill Ben.
Right.
So it wasn't premeditated.
Absolutely not.
Definitely wasn't premeditated. And I don't even know if killing him was like on his brain. I think he just wanted to get him away from him and get rid of him.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So Kara, you talked about the premeditated thing. You have to be able to prove that the murder was premeditated to be convicted for murder.
That's basically that's a good way of describing specific intent if you're trying to charge someone with attempted murder. But when it comes to murder, and every state is a little different, but murder overall is the intentional killing of another human being. And there's a concept, I'm going to try not to go way too into this, but there's a concept in criminal law and in tort law called transferred intent. Transferred intent essentially says, if you intend, for example, to shoot, let's say I've got you both in front of me, and Erica, if I intend to shoot you, maybe I don't intend to cause your death, but I intend to shoot you, but Jade gets in the way or something happens and I like trip as I'm going to shoot you and I shoot Jade instead, my intent to shoot you transfers to her. So with Cliff, that also applies with kind of whatever injury you cause. If I try to run you over and I happen to hit you and there was a cliff that I didn't see and you fall down that cliff and you die, I caused your death. I did an intentional action that then resulted in your death. In this situation, Cliff pushed Ben in front of an open elevator shaft. He absolutely intended to assault him. He did it in front of an elevator shaft. The push that he intended to do resulted in Ben falling down that elevator shaft to his death. The intent of that push then ultimately would apply and transfer to his death, because that's a foreseeable consequence. So it's a murder. Technically, it's a murder.
So let's watch it again really quick.
Between prison bars.
Oh.
Actually, you might, boy.
For the sake!
Damn, Cliff.
I mean, he regretted it right after.
Yep.
But then
he ran away.
Then look at this moment, though. On his little... look at that little sly,
he was angry
face. Yeah.
And that's
he saw that elevator door that opened right there, and he knew what would happen if he pushed him.
He fled. He didn't think I should stick around and explain to the cops what happened, but intent can be formed in a split second. You just need a split second to form intent. So him making that decision out of anger, that's his intent. It resulted in the death of Ben. Ben was taunting him, but words alone, verbal provocation, will never, ever, ever justify any form of assault under the law at all. So he would not have been justified even in shoving Ben if he had gotten hurt or felt pain from that. He could have been charged with just simple assault. And then Erica brought up, sudden passion. Sudden passion is a mitigating factor when it would come to punishment. So let's say Cliff gets charged with Ben's murder. He's on trial. He can be convicted of murder, and then his attorneys would be able to say, look, we're going to argue that this was a crime of sudden passion. He was so inflamed and incensed by this provocation from Ben about threatening his mother, calling him boy, that he knew was a trigger. And then, he just couldn't help himself. He didn't have a cooling off period, and he reacted like a reasonable person would and pushed him. And that's where he would have problems, because the typical examples when you talk about crimes of sudden passion are somebody walking in and finding their spouse in bed with another person, pulling the gun that they keep in the drawer and shooting them. That's a typical crime of sudden passion, where you see something that is just so enraging or so overwhelming that you cannot reflect at all, and you act and you kill out of anger. Cliff, not really enough to justify where a reasonably, objectively, a reasonable person would be like, yeah, I'd be driven to kill at that point. Sure, I'd shove him down the elevator shaft. So he could try to argue it as a mitigating factor in his punishment. But what he did technically is murder, at least in most states.
I don't think that, I feel like Ben had more of a reason to be like the things that Cliff said to Ben were so much worse than the things that Ben said to Cliff. You know what I mean? Ben was saying, or Cliff was saying, you are stinker, a phony, no business being on Broadway. I mean, all Ben was saying is, your mother tried to fucking kill me. She's going to jail, boy.
It's just what the hell, man?
Yeah,
this is not good. So Cliff, I did see some Facebook comments pop up where they're like, that wasn't a real murder. This is supposed to be a show about murders. I was like, oh, that was a murder.
That was a murder.
That was a murder.
Like what you were saying, it takes a second, even a split second to form intent. And when he saw that empty elevator shaft, he knew what would obviously, he might be stupid. He's Cliff. He's pretty dumb, but you know what happens when you shove someone down an empty elevator shaft. It's not going to be fucking
that high up.
Yeah.
It's all right, man. And he,
so I wanted to just put that to bed, that yes, it was a murder. People are saying, accident. It was an accident. I'm like,
I don't think it was an accident.
No,
that's not what an accident is. He shoved him into an elevator shaft.
Immediately after, he felt bad about it, and he felt like, shit, what did I do? oh no, and he was sorry. Sure, all of that can be the case, and that can, that's at the mercy of the jury at that point. But
and
we
he's
don't
also
know.
he wasn't remorseful. Like Theo was remorseful instantly. Like he ran to his father for help.
Right.
Like I'm curious why they didn't have the reaction of Cliff and Donna showed that, just a kind of in comparison to after what happened to Theo and Teddy.
Cliff never told Donna.
Told her.
Oh,
remember, because Donna
realized.
That's right. You're correct.
She saw that hanky.
She realized when she saw the hanky. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's why Mabel was tipped off, because she was like, okay, something's fishy here. She was saying, I did it. I poisoned Ben. Yes, it was me. And then she's like, I didn't shove him. Shove him? What are you talking about? Not me. And then when they showed the hanky, she was like, oh, that's only one person could have that hanky. I know my lipstick stain. So yes, for the sake of a child.
I will say, just to be clear, he did not have to intend to kill him in that moment for it to be murder in essentially all 50 states. The degree or the name of the crime, the type of murder might differ, but if he intended to shove him and that resulted in his death, that is a murder. That is textbook murder.
It was murder. It was murder. We've spoken.
Murder in the building.
So, okay, I think what happened for me was that I was overthinking the mystery, because that's the name of the game, right? It's like, that's all the fun of it. You got to overthink. And when
simple one.
It was very simple. Yes, absolutely. This was the simplest of all, easiest to figure out of all of the seasons for me, for sure.
100%.
And so when we said last week that we knew Donna couldn't be the murderer, we immediately thought, no, we said it, the twist was going to be, or one of the twists, the first little twist was going to be, no, Donna didn't poison. That was Cliff that poisoned. And then we were expecting, I just couldn't think to myself that would be where it would end. That, just simple, no, it wasn't Donna, it was Cliff.
Right.
Case closed. I never thought that it was going to be that easy. So I was thinking way ahead, going, okay, but what's going to be that big twist? Who pushed him down the elevator? Okay, well, Dickie's got an alibi, so it's got to be Dickie, because in my Agatha Christie brain, I went on Facebook at I think it was 11:59 p.m. I posted it before I could ever watch the new episode. And I said, okay, final theories. I think Cliff did the poisoning. It wasn't, Donna had nothing to do with it. It was it was all Cliff's idea, because it was such a dumb idea to poison him. And then the elevator moment is going to be Dickie, because he's going to be the double bluff that, okay, take him off the murder board. He's got an alibi. We have this photograph of him on the security camera footage.
Such a good
Can't be
picture.
him. And then for some reason it's going to come out where it, he faked that security camera footage or whatever. And it's going to be Dickie killed him, because always beware of those characters who feel seconded. The characters who are over, like Poppy, Jan, don't want to be second best, don't want to be overlooked, don't want to be belittled. And that's why my eye was on Dickie. But I guess I overlooked the most overlooked character of them all, because who is always told that they suck, who's always told to shut up. Since he was a little boy, I came up to the rafters because I didn't want to be in the way. I brought my Twizzlers, I was totally overlooking the most obvious choice because I thought it was too obvious. I mean, I never thought that the twist
was too obvious. Like, I remember being like, well, Dickie didn't necessarily account for Ben's watch being different. Like, that came up before. Like, how did they not address that now with the surveillance video? And like, nothing, it was just straightforward, exactly what you would think.
Yeah.
Didn't they say, like, we've never had such a straightforward confession before? And it was like, there wasn't any funny twists and turns, and
I was like, cheeky.
Yeah, right. No, there was truly no twists and turns, because we were just thinking there's going to be another twist on top of it. We just couldn't think that it would be that easy. Yeah, but it's always on Only Murders in the Building. It's those characters who feel second best that you always have to keep your eye on. And I just was looking at Dickie the whole time, thinking Richard the second,
And they had two mother-son pairs. So it's like, well, it could be either or. Like, I can make a case for both of them. And it seemed like it would have been I I don't know, like a less obvious thing to go with a twist, and as opposed to just having mother protect her child because she did a poisoning and then he did the pushing.
Mhm.
But it's fine. It was still fun.
Oh, it was so fun. Yes, I was just the only biggest bummer for me was that there wasn't 3 murderers. I'm
I
like,
know.
but
Yeah, I
why?
thought about that.
That would have been really nice and neat. I love when things are
Poetic.
like, yeah.
Help me with my
Yeah.
brain. Oedipus. Who did he kill? Did he kill his father?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he, yeah.
Okay.
And
Mom.
then spooned out his own eyeballs because he was
Yeah,
like,
it was
Yeah, I'll
mad.
never
I was
forget
gonna
that.
say, is there there's a connection to this only because of the nasty kissing between the mom and the son?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
yeah. So
I was just trying. There's nothing poetic about it. It's just gross.
yeah, it's just gross. It's just gross. Yep. Yeah, there was a moment in episode 3, I think, when Oliver was like,
Ugh.
Give me a spoon to gouge out my
Gouge out.
eyes or something." Yeah, he does make that
That was
reference.
funny.
But
He's
yeah,
so
I
funny.
guess we gotta just believe the show from now on when they cross someone off the list, because they don't really do
know.
double bluffs. Well, actually, Jan was kind of a double bluff. We
Mhm.
totally
Yeah.
took her off the murder board suspect list.
When she
And
got
then-
Well,
stabbed.
I didn't.
Kind of,
That's when I
yeah.
was like, fuck, it's Jan.
Yeah.
That was the only time I was just like, ha!
See, that was the only one that I didn't see coming. Was I totally was fooled. I was fooled by Jan.
It's like
the
with
Jan
Poppy.
reveal.
I did not get Poppy.
I was proud that I called the Poppy one, but this one I didn't feel that proud because it was just exactly laid out in front of us. It was very, very easy to solve, and
Too straightforward.
it was very, yes. There was very little detective work, very, very few, clues.
Fucking handkerchief. Erica, you
Yeah.
pointed out the heart, one for the lips and one for the whatever the hell it was. That didn't come up until this episode.
No.
Right.
And that was
So-
irritating. And then the bloody handprints, that like fingerprints, that
That
drove
never-
me crazy.
That wasn't
Yeah.
on when he was falling down the shaft. You didn't see
No.
any blood.
That's why the only explanation is
Is it
Uma
Uma?
being messy
Yeah.
and getting her
Uma.
hands in
It
some
was
like
ketchup. It was ketchup.
and blood and picking up the handkerchief.
Mhm.
It's like great.
Yeah.
But
Uma
that-
got
Like,
ketchup.
ugh.
Uma
was
got
weird.
ketchup on the hanky from
the diner.
pickle,
The pickle diner.
Yeah. No, it looked like a prop. Kara, you were reading really far into that bloody handprint.
It was
handprint.
so there. I was
Bloody
just like, why
handprint.
are they showing us this?
No, it looked to me like a prop that a props department had made, that they didn't really give much thought to, of like the logicality
But why would
of
they
how,
put bloody handprints? Like, why would they put bloody fingerprints on it?
because
What's
dead
the logic
person
behind that?
because dead person equals blood, Kara, don't you know?
But
On
put
TV,
it in a smear or something would have made
Yeah.
more sense than a fingerprint pattern.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer
I was
that
like, what the fuck?
the lipstick thing hadn't been shown to us, because we would have
Exactly.
been able to.
It would have been too obvious.
Well, I don't know. Would it have been too obvious? I mean, it was obvious anyway, so whatever. But
That's true, because we were between Loretta still kind of and Donna being involved, and
Yeah.
we had ruled out Joy with the lipstick. So the other two, naturally, we ruled out Kimber, would be Loretta or Donner. Donner.
Donner.
a lot of people had called out that the putting on the lipstick in the bathroom when we saw Donna doing it, it was like, oh, that's going to be the lipstick on the mirror, and so we were all looking at lipstick. And I just think it's a bummer that they didn't really play fair with us, because they didn't
Not
show us
at
the
all.
lipstick before.
But
And
they
also,
never do.
right, they never do on the show. They also didn't show us the ritual of the kissing thing that they do. We only just saw that like a second before. We saw it when Mabel saw it, like right before she solved the murder. So that
Right.
was a little bit of a bummer. I felt kind of the same bummer in season 2 when Poppy, we see her like silhouette in that blue suit in the art catacombs.
Mhm.
That actually helped me solve season 2, because I realized, why would they go so out of their way to make the figure look masculine if it was going to be a man? Obviously they're trying to they're trying to make us believe that the murderer is a man. And so I was like, oh no, it's got to be a woman. And who's the only other person who's got the same height roughly in like kind of body type or whatever. And I'm like, it's only Poppy, because I remember season 2 had a lack of the correct masculine body types. We were like, oh, who could it be? There's no available men that logically could be suspects. And so I was like, no, it's because it's not a man, it's a woman. But it was unfair. Yeah, it was unfair the way that they got that person in the catacombs to play, you know, Poppy. They never used the actual actor to do they used a male extra. And I was like, it's a little unfair. You're not quite, you know, letting your audience have all the information to solve the murder. But Only Murders in the Building, for my money, isn't about the murder. It's about the characters, like we were saying. It's about the joy we feel,
the humor.
That's why it was still a fun ride.
Yeah. It was so fun. Absolutely. What did you guys think of the whole cancer reveal being so, again, like just really easy, right?
Yeah,
I was overthinking it. I was really overthinking it.
Yeah.
I remember toward the end of our last podcast, I was like, it can't be cancer. That's too easy. It's got to be something else. She's not really sick. And I was overthinking like crazy.
But I think the general audience, like, we get so caught up, like, we're podcasting about this. Like, obviously we're into it. We're going to look at it a little bit closer. People that are listening to a podcast about this are going to examine it a little closer. They enjoy that stuff. And not everybody posts online and goes through Reddit threads. So I'm sure if just your average viewer was watching it, like, they didn't necessarily catch that Donna was adjusting a wig and not her hair, or they might not
a lot of
put
people
all of this together. And so I'm assuming my mom is just a very casual viewer of it. She's just started season 3. And so I could see her being surprised. So I think sometimes we get too bogged down in thinking like they're writing it for viewers like us, when they're really not. Like, they've got to reach everyone.
Well, how many people in the world thought that because a lot of people, you know, really, like you were saying, watch closely, they pause, they zoom in, looking at all the like screen grabs, and how many people were like, the tattoo's switching on the finger.
That was hilarious.
Ben's got to be a twin.
Continuity.
I had a feeling initially that it was a continuity error, and then my brain, very invested, went, no, there's no way, because if I were that actor, I would be looking down at my own hands, my finger tattoos, and I would go, hey guys, we got I can on my hand, I can see that it's wrong. But probably Paul Rudd just had other things on his mind. Right. He probably did. When you're acting in a TV show, there's a lot to think about.
And also, you said he filmed his things in a different way, didn't he?
Yeah, Paul Rudd filmed everything way early on, way before. They did not film this in sequence at all. This was very, very out of. They actually filmed the whole, I think, the ending, most of all the ending with the Ben Glenroy stuff first, because Paul Rudd was going to be unavailable.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there was some continuity stuff. There was that wrong date on the bus ticket that I had a feeling that one probably was a continuity, because it's so. It wasn't even really a prop. It was just like a ending credit little photo. So whoever was in charge of that, you know, just didn't look that closely at Ben's
Maybe
birthday.
they'll remember next season.
Yeah, I don't know. I was saying on our part 1 podcast, I wonder if Only Murders in the Building is in the market for a new continuity person to keep track of everything. Yeah, there are a couple of clues that didn't that were red herrings, or that just didn't come back around.
Go anywhere.
Yeah, like the Richard II posters and that damn crass menagerie poster with those 3 faces, those laughing faces. Totally red herring.
And all really Kimber's stuff.
Yeah.
That was a very clear red herring. Ben taking drugs.
Mabel's
came into play,
recording,
but not really. Mabel's
recording. It just didn't come back.
Mabel recording. You're referring to Mabel recording the speech that Ben gave at the
first cast party.
We were sure that was going to come back somehow. We're like, why would they show her?
We give them too much credit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that.
But
seems
it's
like
still clever. Like,
Mhm.
and I think they did that intentionally this time around, where it wasn't, the focus wasn't necessarily on the mystery. They had these huge guest stars that they
huge.
needed to use and be
And
able
a
to use them
musical.
appropriately.
They
Yes.
had a
And
musical
that
to
is
think
a
about.
lot. So it makes sense that the actual mystery would take a bit of a back seat and let them go over the themes that they want to bring out in the
Mhm.
musical and in the characters and focus on that, and not go as all out on the murder mystery aspect of it,
I
which
will
I can
say,
accept for now.
I will say though that the Salome posters I think were very meaningful because, and I think that was a clue because it's the mother who requests the head of John the Baptist on a platter, and it turns out that he killed Ben for his mother. He brought that head on a
Yeah.
platter.
All the
for
mother
Mama.
stuff absolutely was in there on
Yeah.
purpose. That was just, ugh.
And we
That
said it
was
during
fun.
part 1. Some say heavy-handed.
And
I
brother
say
stuff.
beautifully poetic. I don't think that the mother stuff was overdone. I think
How
it was
many
great.
people watched? And yeah, there may have been some of it that was a little bit obvious, but there were so many layers to motherhood references and protection and all of that.
Yeah, totally. I think that Jesse Williams, as I was saying before, had nothing but red herrings. Everything he said was a freaking red herring. He seemed to be so disingenuous. Erica, you and I agree on this, that from the time he was like, oh yeah, you really stole that footage. Good for me, Mabel. I didn't notice you slipping that out of my pocket at all. Good for you. And
Or
we
when
were
he
both,
like he tricked her to go on a date with her and like
yeah,
use Jonathan. Like to me, like it just, and
it
chasing
seems
Dr.
slimy.
C, it just, to me it seemed
I
like,
think he's just kind of clumsy. Like he sees something as a smooth move, but it just doesn't work out the way he thinks it's going to in his head. Like I saw him as more clumsy as opposed to slimy. And I know that I may be clouded by my Jesse Williams bias, but that was how I interpreted it.
Okay, so all right. Let's get to the ending here. I need to know, what was y'all's first thought when you saw that it was Sazz? Erica,
I was
what was
so
your first thought?
upset. I mean, I would have been upset if it was Charles. I would have been upset if it was Sazz. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, what she was drawing with her finger. Was it a letter J?
It was a straight line.
Was it a letter J?
That's all we saw was a...
So yes, Agatha Christie listeners, or readers, you will know that in a very famous Agatha Christie.
J?
Yeah, there was, but the thing is, in that Agatha Christie, yeah, I will kind of spoil, I guess, a little bit right now, Death on the Nile. Like, it's not really a huge spoiler, but skip ahead a few seconds if you don't want to have Death on the Nile spoiled for you. At the end, well, not even really at the end, midway through the mystery, Hercule Poirot says, oh yes, yeah, this J on the wall, what a great clue that the victim left for us. And he's like, no guys, this is bullshit clue. This obviously was planted by the killer to lead us in the wrong direction. So that J was a big old red herring in the Agatha Christie murder. So if they're doing that, but we're actually seeing the victim do it herself, it's not so, it can't be a red herring. It's got to be something.
That's a similar plot device in Arthur Conan Doyle's A Study in Scarlet, which is the very first Sherlock Holmes novel. And for those of you that have watched the miniseries, this is also referenced in that miniseries. So in the book, basically there's a murder in this hotel. Homicide detectives, Lestrade shows up, Inspector Lestrade shows up, and there's a man's body, and the word, I don't know how to pronounce this in German, but it's RACHE, is written in blood, like nearby the body. And so they assume that in the show, like it could be a killer, like trying to spell, or it could have been the victim trying to say Rachel and tell us who killed him. But basically, Sherlock Holmes is able to use his Sherlock powers of deduction and realize that it's Rocher. If you are German and you know I'm butchering this word, I am sorry, but it's the German word for revenge. And the killer basically wrote that on the wall in blood to frame and throw everybody off from the real killer. So this is a theme that's come up in mysteries multiple times, where it can actually be meaningful. Like the word revenge in A Study in Scarlet ended up being a clue to who the real murderer was, because the real murderer was killing people out of revenge for his first love. So it could be a number of different things. And I want to know, if we like open for season 4, are we going to get to see what she wrote, or is that going to be part of the mystery? Like, how soon do we get to see what she was able to write? Because I am assuming there will be something there.
Well,
like,
even more to
why
the point,
would they
though,
show it?
Right. Does this mean that Sazz knows who her killer is? Because okay,
or
he said the sensitive. She said she had something sensitive
information
or something.
Right.
So she knew something.
What did you think it was?
Well, she said exactly, hey, listen, I got something I need to talk to you about when you get a sec. It's a little sensitive.
Right.
And I was like, well, in that moment, I was like, this is kind of weird. What the hell is she going to talk about? Is it she and Jan are getting married? Like, Jan's getting out of prison. Did Sazz, is she in trouble? Like, was she gambling? Does she need to, like, something going on? Like, my brain went all over the place. And then especially after we see that it was Sazz that was shot, I was like, okay, that's important. It has to be.
The only other thing that I have to say from the past that we might have as like evidence to get us a little bit closer to who we think killed Sazz is in episode 5, Sazz says, and if you want to go back and look at this, it's around like the 10-minute and 30-second mark of that episode when Sazz says, I've been getting some vibes. I've also got my ham radio, and there's some chatter of people wishing it was you, Charles, instead of Ben that died. Which we were like, ow, wow, what a Jesus, how mean is that?
And people, when Charles, like the whole sandbag thing almost falling on Charles, like it's been kind of a little rumbling.
But that was Jerry.
Yeah, but there's still been like an underlying theme. Maybe Charles was the actual target going through the season.
So okay, I have some superlative awards that I wanted to just some categories that I thought would be fun to give out. Yeah, like, so most marvelous moment of the season. Want to start there?
That's hard.
I think that I have to stand by what I said last episode, Ben, with those cookies. I was just bowled over at how much I really loved Paul Rudd in that moment. It affected me. I just didn't expect, and that's why I love the show, though. You know, it's so hilariously funny, and then it can get so real and really make you take a hard look at your own life and how it relates to this horrible vulnerability. Some people are saying that they found that cookie moment funny. I was not laughing. I was
uncomfortable.
disturbed.
Yeah. And that just, that whole scene, like thinking about it now, it just made me feel like you're intruding. It felt voyeuristic almost, like you're intruding on this
very much
super private, like intimately conflicting moment.
And that's what it is.
His character.
As an actor, that's what we actors are after, that private in public. Like I was saying, it's in our training is like to be so vulnerable that the audience feels like they shouldn't be watching. That's when you know you're doing well. You want to, I mean, when the character calls for it, when the situation calls, make them uncomfortable. That's what makes us turn on our television screens, you know, to be a little freaked out, to be a little disturbed, and just how much I related. Can't look away. Yeah. And how much I related to Ben's vulnerability is just, it was great. Also, so then I think there were so many funny moments though of the season that were my most marvelous moments, and kind of anything with Howard, if I can just say that.
So
like
precious.
Oh my God. Howard was killing it this whole season. But then, lest we forget, Charles and his patter song.
Oh yeah.
It was so marvelous. So something out of those three things for me. I don't know. What did you guys have for your most marvelous moment of the whole season?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I was for most marvelous moment, I would have gone with either the Fosse kind of fever dream
That was
or
good.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was great.
or Loretta's kind of confession from episode
Mhm.
8, like where
Mm.
where oh I like, you know, it was just so well performed and so like riveting and like suspenseful and like, you know, just so caught in the
Mhm.
moment. I'm like, watching what was happening.
The
And
way that she went from singing to
mhm,
confessing to singing
mhm,
to like she kind of like was doing half, she was
It
half
was
performing.
so well done.
It was
it
so well done.
was
Yeah.
it was
The
so
writing
upsetting.
and the
Yeah, it was
acting was
beautiful.
great.
Um, yeah, funniest, I think I agree with actually everything, but I think, you know, like maybe the Patter song might have been my favorite, like funny
Yeah.
moment.
was
When
Although
he
there's,
nailed it, or when
yeah,
he would go to the White Room
no, the
and
White Room was just
let
silly.
go.
No, I don't know. Maybe, well, you know what? I mean, that maybe I'll put that in the marvelous moment contender too, because it was just
Yeah.
like, I was like, damn, this is great.
Kara, most marvelous moment of the
I had
season?
3 things came to mind. First was uh Loretta's delivery of that monologue in her audition, because right out the gate, I was just captivated. Like, I stopped taking notes. I just stopped and was all in. I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yep.
That's probably my more serious one. The other one is Charles playing it cool, talking to Mabel about how he's going to go like talk to the other cast members about the handkerchiefs and like slowly backing out awkwardly. That whole exchange and him trying to get information out of the cast members about their hankies. Like, what if we just all took them out and showed them to each other? That whole thing with Charles was wonderful. And then the trio getting back together and kind of, you know, coming together to go to the 5 whores at the supposed
the ladder.
brothel.
Oh God.
Yep.
The
And the
man with
ladder
the
moment.
Oh
Just
man,
that
I didn't
whole
even. You're so right.
scheme
Yeah.
made me really happy.
That ladder scene, oh, that was good. Yeah. I guess
So
we should have had a category for the most funny moment, because when I
Yeah.
was thinking Patter song, Charles' most marvelous moment, yes, I did love it when he nailed it, but I really loved it when he was fake chopping those vegetables.
Oh
That
yeah,
was right.
talked about
Twisted
that.
And Oliver's just
Making
like,
an
hold
omelet.
on, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, what did he say? He was like, I don't know. He goes, I don't know what I'm doing. It's just the constable flowing through me, but I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what he does, you know?
It's like, don't worry
Oh
about
my
it.
God. Yeah.
It's totally fine.
Did you guys have a favorite episode? I just had that pop into my mind. For me, it was Sit's Probe. I can't think of a better one.
Yeah.
The second to last episode, the last episode before this one, 30
Sit's
was
Probe.
probably
you
my
like
favorite.
30?
Yeah.
I think Sit's Probe. 30, it was really good, but it was
good.
30 was a little too dark. Like
Maybe that's why I liked.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated all the choices that were made. It was really, really good. But if I had to pick a favorite, I think I would have picked Sit's Probe. I just felt like thematically and just like, you know, the climax of going back and forth, like it was just like so much. It was so much. I could watch it.
Very intense. I think my second favorite would have been the one with Theo. I think that was episode 5. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Oh, I love that episode too.
Oh, yeah.
But I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And then Sit's Probe would be my third, I think.
Yeah, I think I love Sit's Probe so much just because I don't remember laughing harder at any episode, and just, you know, Detective Williams
that was great.
Nailing every single beat, every single line she had. Yeah, that would be definitely on my wish list for season 4. Please, more Detective Williams.
More Detective Williams.
Yeah.
Sure.
Please.
Did you guys have, what did you think best acting overall, best performance? Not necessarily funniest. It could be also funniest, but best acting. So I'll
overall,
go first. I have one. Yeah. I had one outstanding actor that impressed me more this season than ever before, and that is Martin Short.
Yep.
He really had a lot of focus on him. He had a lot of demanded of him this season, and from the heart attack to falling in love with Meryl Streep, and just how well he meshed and just had this chemistry with Meryl Streep, which I can't imagine is hard to do. Meryl Streep could have chemistry with a fucking dish towel, you know, like, but to match her so well and to be the love duo, whatever that I'm, you know what I'm trying to say, to have that in front of me. I just did not know that I wanted Oliver to be in love until I saw, oh my God, he's got this. Like, I want it to be real in real life. I want them to be together. As I was saying before in part one, I'm like, can you guys please maybe consider leaving your spouses and getting together, because this needs to be real. Make my dreams come true. Yeah.
That was exactly who I picked too. I think that was the only name I wrote down. When I saw that you had put that up on the agenda, I was like, Martin Short. Like
best acting.
Like the range that he displayed, not only like the singing and dancing that we got to see him do in the finale, but all of the dramatics with his heart attack and the conflict that he had when he was falling for Loretta and suspecting that she was the murderer. Just everything was glorious.
I mean, even those soft little moments, like I loved
my AirPods died
when they were on the ferry and they're just talking and reminiscing about the 70s and then realizing, like, even those little moments, which were not over the top Oliver or over the top Martin Short, it was just it was really beautifully acted. I agree.
Yeah, because Martin Short has gotten, you know, this article written about him, and part of that article went into how, it's crap. We all know it is just wrong. You can have your opinions. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, except when it's that it's just wrong. Sorry, wrong-o. Martin Short is amazing. And there's in that article said, like, he just pushes too hard. He overacts, he overdoes it. It's this like overdone shtick that's just not funny anymore. I think this is completely disproved by this season of Only Murders in the Building, because he pulled back and was so subtle and so soft, and not even necessarily with the Meryl Streep like love moments, but when he had to, we've seen him do it with Will
and with Mabel,
with his when he had his moments with his son, or talking about his family in season 1.
Sweet.
And then he had these very sweet friendship moments, and just there were some moments when I love looking at Martin Short reacting to people. Like there was that right after he had his heart attack, and Charles said, Mabel wanted to wait for you, the old softy. And he doesn't have a line, but the way he looks at Selena Gomez, the way he looks at Mabel,
so sweet.
It says so much, and like that, those are the moments that really warm my heart. It's like the reading between the lines, and that's just coming from him as an actor. He's always on, in a way that I have to say Steve Martin isn't. And
it's different. But I also feel like Oliver got richer material.
No, but season 1 Steve Martin got very rich material. It was very focused on him.
But I also enjoyed
season 2
but I enjoyed him more than Oliver and Martin Short at that point in time.
In season 2, sure.
Because I connected a little bit. Like, I don't know what it is. Now I want to go back and rewatch everything.
Yeah, I was actually just as you said that, thinking to myself, so would I say that Steve Martin was the best performance of season 2? I don't think so. And the reason is because of exactly what I was saying. There's something that Martin Short does that kind of Meryl Streep does as well, where I was saying they're always on. It's in the eyes. Yeah. Steve Martin doesn't have the facility to manipulate his face and his features. It's something about like the breathing and the body posture or something that Steve Martin is just a little more flat. And it's not like a criticism. It's not bad. He's an amazing actor, a comedic genius for sure. But it's harder for him.
That's what it is. He doesn't have the emotional range, I think, on screen. It doesn't translate as well as Martin Short, because Steve Martin pure comedy,
yes. But what I just was putting my finger on is that Martin Short's subtlety speaks so loudly, it shouts from his being. when he's not even using words. And Steve Martin needs lines in order to get across what he's feeling or thinking. I don't think he can do it like Steve Martin, like Martin Short can, with just a look. And Meryl Streep is the queen of just a look. The queen.
That's true. Martin Short deserves an Emmy to me after this season.
Yes.
Like, it was on par with, for those of you who have been with us since Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I think on par with what Alex Borstein did with Susie this past season. Like, she was masterful at playing Susie. And that is how I feel about Martin's portrayal of Oliver this season. Like, it was just next level, perfectly executed and subtle but intense at the same time. Like, just no notes.
Remember, no notes. Yeah. You remember the way that like Alex Borstein would just like she would just breathe and you would be crying and have goosebumps. It's the same.
I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah. The same thing that Martin Short was doing. And I think that it's why he and Meryl Streep have great actor chemistry together. And I just can't remember the last time I saw this like love duo. What am I trying to say? A love couple, acting love couple. What is the word for that?
I don't know.
I feel like there's a word that I'm not
acting love couple.
Acting love couple. So I can't remember the last time I saw one that I loved so much. The chemistry is off the charts.
It was very believable.
This just became an Inside the Actor Studio podcast because Jade could talk about acting all day long. I'm sorry. Acting. I hope you like it. If you don't want me to talk about acting anymore, well, you can just leave. Because it's my podcast and I'll do what
Go take a drink. Go away.
Go away. No,
that's what you do. Just play a drinking game instead. Yeah. Anytime Jade talks about acting, take a drink.
I think Liz is the first person who mentioned that. Whenever Jade says acting, I have to drink, and then you're trash by the end of the podcast. Not sorry. You're welcome. Please drink responsibly. But no, if you would enjoy listening to me talk about acting, like let me know, because I'm never sure. It's so fascinating to me. It's endlessly fascinating. And it's the reason I have after show podcasts, like to talk about the acting. So if you don't like it when I go in depth on it, just let me know, because I would be interested to know how many people find it also fascinating. I don't know. Next category, this one I thought was a fun one. Favorite new character from season 3 only that we got that you want to see return the most. Who would that be for you?
I would want Loretta, but I know she's not. I want Loretta.
You can pick Loretta. Yeah. I mean, hopefully.
Yeah.
Loretta realistically, but then I said I just would love to see Jesse Williams.
I would like to see his character be developed a little bit more.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing Talbert again. I don't feel the need to see Bobo or Kimber
or Katie.
Even like Donna and Cliff. Erica. I'm like, all right, they're done.
Erica's
KT would be good.
I love how one second. Erica, I love how you're so hung up on his name. You're always like, his stupid name. I fucking hate it. Like, you really hated him.
I wanted him to be more important. Like, not just not even just that. I don't have an issue of him being Selena Gomez's romantic interest. That's fine. I just feel like his
presence was
his presence was wasted. Like, I think his character was dumb.
Well, no, and I've said it since I can't remember when I brought up on part 1. He was there solely to distract us, to be a big old pretty thing to look at, a shiny object. And Kara's like, got me.
I didn't hate it.
He was also the thing. He was always everyone's no, but the twist is it's going to be Talbert. The twist is it's going to be Talbert because he's so in the shadows. They're saving him for last. And I'm like, no, they're saving him for nothing. It's a big old nothing. Trust me. Boom. And you bring in like a kind of, not kind of, he's very famous. You bring in a famous stud to do that. I just could smell it a mile away that this is a very overdone like murder mystery trope. Is you make this mysterious, attractive either male or female like love interest, you make them the red herring distraction point.
But didn't they do that already with Cara Delevingne last season? Like, she wasn't
They sure did.
They super
I think they
suspect,
did,
and
but
the
they did
show
it- but
even
they did it- I
suspected
think-
her.
I felt like they did it better last season though with her. Like they allowed her to be
Oh, I
kind of
didn't.
tied in. I felt like at least they tied her into it. With him, he was just kind of like there.
Yeah.
Like they didn't do enough with him.
I mean, I kind of honestly, I felt like Cara Delevingne was just kind of there too. I felt like she was a big. For me, it was exactly 1-to-1 comparison, equal with Cara Delevingne's. What was her name?
Is that Alex?
Alice, yeah.
Alice.
Yeah,
There you go.
Alice and Taubert were right on the same level.
You know
for
what?
me.
You're
I
right,
just,
and they're
I could
both
see
were
it was the
stupid.
same trick. Yeah, it was the same.
And they both
yeah.
liked her as Bloody Mabel. I hope they don't do that next season.
Yeah, they did.
I'm tired of the eye candy people for Mabel. Give her someone with substance.
Theo, give her
Theo.
Theo.
But I like their friendship so much. Like that would kind of bum
But
me
then
out
give
a little
her
bit.
because I'm like, look, Oliver and Charles are like an old married couple too. Like they're it could be platonic. It's fine. It's just like, it's like I don't like these people that they're pairing her with. They're just they don't enhance Mabel at all.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. What did you think about Joy? Did she enhance?
No. I hate Joy.
Joy. It was sad because I love Andrea Martin. I think I wish she brought her back because like I felt like they didn't they kind of like Suzanne summered her a little bit, like she just disappeared. Like it was Chrissy, like she just how like when Suzanne Summers like left because of contract issues, like that she would call on the phone or like write text, like it just was like, where did Andrea Martin go?
I think that I had no problem with Andrea Martin being this outrageous character. It was hilarious. The White Room was one of my more favorite episodes.
That was a good episode.
I loved the batshit, unhinged, crazy, cuckoo, bananas. What the fuck am I watching? I love that shit. Like this, bring it on. This is what Only Murders is about. These legends of total pros of the craft of acting and comedy. Let them do what they gotta, what they do best. Let them be ridiculous. A lot of people disliked that episode, but I loved it, and I loved that they went so extreme with Joy. What I didn't love is the writing toward the end, like you're saying, the way that they shooed her out the door. It was so like we could have made it. It was very more believable, guys. Come on,
she might be back.
She moved in overnight. She moved out overnight. The humongous fish tank. I mean, everything kind of conspired, like piled on top of each other, just to be a little bit like, it's just so.
It was over the top,
not believable.
I did not
that great.
Like her with Charles one bit. I was just like, stop showing me this. I don't want to see it. But
I liked her better last season. She was cuter last season.
Yeah.
Speaking of fish. So do we think that President McKinley ended up being a clue, the name of the fish as President McKinley? Because I'll talk about it more, but the whole assassination thing is sticking with me at this point. After the way
assassination?
Assassination. After the way
Nixon, President Nixon. I'm not
well, he was 100% certain he was going to be assassinated. That was part of his problem, that paranoia. Good old Dick's paranoia. But that's for another podcast. But I couldn't stop thinking about whether or not President McKinley was a little cheeky clue. It's probably not, but I would like to know how much the writers know and think about history, because the fact that she has a fish named after one of the only 4 presidents to be assassinated in the United States while in office, and he took a little while to die. I mean, I guess that's not really relevant. That's just a fact. It took a few days. But the way that Sazz was killed, I was like, maybe it's just a tiny cheeky clue, but I'm going to pretend like it is because it makes me happy.
Right on.
Yeah, right on. I never thought of it. But no, okay. The last thing I will say about the whole Joy thing is that my biggest gripe with the whole character is nothing to do with her craziness, mostly to do with the way that they wrote her to leave, and more specifically the way that they wrote that ending fight. She did not behave the way a human being behaves. And that's what bothers me, because you could feel the shoehorning of plot device just going right. We need this to happen. So let's write some lines that just kind of yada, 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 her out the door.
Maybe they were trying to demonstrate her mental instability.
But I don't think Joy's crazy, though. That's the thing. I just think she's, a colorful character, like so many New Yorkers are. But I don't think that, it made Charles look, it kind of discredited Charles. It discredited her. It did a disservice all around. And it just was completely not believable that she would have gotten so upset and shoved those adorable cakes at him and, peaced out.
And also not get her dress back. Her grandmother's dress back.
Right.
Well, her mom mailed it, so maybe she just didn't get it yet. That was basically only yesterday in episode time.
Only Murders.
Don't give him that much credit.
But it's true. Like her mom, Charles, like, oh, her mom mailed it here so she could get it altered. It's the dress that her mom wore when she got married. So maybe Joy just kind of blanked or something.
Well, she was living with Charles, so she was like, send it to where I live, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we had to have a wedding dress for Mabel to wear.
Yep.
To get to the courthouse on time.
Looking stunning. Oh, It was just glorious moment. Selena Gomez, you need to wear a wedding dress all the time. Let that be your weekend attire. Seriously, who wears a wedding dress as good as Selena Gomez? I mean, the answer is no one.
That's true. That was pretty stunning.
Yeah. And there's a lot of really hilarious behind the scenes stuff that gets talked about in Only Murders in the Pod, the companion Hulu podcast. Listen to it. They talk about filming on the streets of New York and how the paparazzi went ape shit because they
saw that.
Thought, they see her in a wedding dress and they're like losing their minds. So
God,
very funny.
That was fun.
Fear not, listeners. Fear not. Season 4 comes around. I am 100% more than once. I will be I will do background on Only Murders in the Building.
Yes.
And you're not allowed. I will 100%. The timing has never worked out before in the past. I'm always involved in something else. So I never get to do background, or I'm already doing background on another show, which is like just a bummer, but I'm going to make it a priority, like come hell or high water. And you can't take video footage or pictures, but I will 100% be taking detailed notes and I will report back.
Keep it all in here.
Oh yeah, that will happen. Yes. So, okay, I will finally answer the question. My new favorite character from season 3 that I really want to see return, that I don't think we will get to see return, but I want to, man, is KT, Allison Gwynn. Fucking loved her. But especially with Howard, but even on her own, she is very funny. And seeing her on the after show, One Killer Question, did you not fall in love with her even more?
Oh, yeah.
As a person, I love Allison Gwynn.
She's charming and dry and like all of the above.
So funny. I just want to get drunk with her and like and have her just talk because she cracked me up. Yeah.
I have to watch that one. I missed that one.
Oh, that's the best one. It's the best One Killer Question.
It's pretty funny
episode for sure. Yeah, it's hilarious. Just the way that she rattles things off the top of her head. She's a natural comedian. I want to rattles. There it is. I want to see her stand up.
That'd be fun.
So, okay, next up, your season rankings 1 through 3, best to worst.
I went back and forth a lot trying to figure it out. And here's the thing: I love all of them.
All of them.
All of them, obviously, but for me, it's 2, 1, 3. And a couple reasons for that. So first, season 2 has the blackout episode, which has probably my favorite moment in this show. The moment that made me laugh the most is when Oliver has to leave his bag of dips on the staircase and he does the Last of the Mohicans Stay Alive speech. Like, I love Last of the Mohicans. I was not expecting that to come up on this show at all.
Stay alive, no matter what it takes. I will come back for you. I will. Putnam.
So good. And I loved everything we got with Bunny that season. And I liked seeing the trio develop a little bit more. Like the season 2 overall just kept me hooked the most. Season 1 was my favorite murder mystery. I thought that was the most fun because I loved all, the Hardy Boys aspect of it, the significance that it was Mabel's childhood friend. And season 1 also has my favorite episode, I think, of this show, not considering comedy, but the boy from 6B centered on Theo with that, what one line technically of spoken dialogue was absolutely brilliant.
I will venture to say it is where television goes from being television to being high art. That was true. That was art on film. That is photography in its highest form. Yeah.
I still get chills thinking about that episode. Yeah. And then I still love the beginning of watching the trio bond and Charles being drugged by Jan and Steve Martin in that
stroller in the stroller.
Cannot get past that. And
remember Steve Martin rolling on the floor to Fields of Gold?
Excellent. I loved that. And so they're just right. And it might be not quite nostalgia, but a familiarity factor maybe, because I've rewatched those seasons. I'll have to see how I feel later on, but right now it's 2-1-3.
Wow, not what I expected, but you have a lot of points. You got a lot of good points. Okay, Erica, what's your answer?
I feel prepared. I don't have a Kara prepared one.
Erica's like, I don't answer these kinds of questions.
Go with your gut.
Favorites.
Well, I said, all right. So I could tell you the favorite elements of all of them. I would say from my gut, I would say 1 is probably still my favorite, just for that. I think it is just for that origin of how it started, why we fell in love with these characters. Yeah. I do agree with you. It had the best murder mystery. It was also the darkest. It was really you got kind of into the psyche of all their kind of where they all were at their lowest points and how they kind of found each other. And that's what made them so happy. Yeah. Now thinking about 3, I do love 3, and I think that it's kind of funny, even with Maisel. I love musical theater so much, and
we're here for it.
The passion of the amazing songs that were written. And I actually found out that I found an article, and I told you I was looking for how I could share this article with you, but because it was telling me I should subscribe, I couldn't get the article. It's from the New York Times. But they said,
my God, the fucking New York Times article. You had an Oliver moment.
That's funny.
Anybody have a credit card?
It's that the music was. I'm like, who composed these songs from this season? And it says it was a crack team of Broadway composers: Justin Paul, Benj Pasek, Mark Shaman, Michael R. Jackson, and Sarah Bareilles, to supply all the songs that they did for Death Rattles Dazzle. So I the art that was created in season 3, although the plot was not my favorite, the murder was not my favorite. I love the themes behind it. I appreciated all the different relationships with it. But I do love season 2 too. It's there's what you're bringing up, all the funny moments from season 2. And I think we talked about season 2 used to be I almost thought that season 2 was my favorite too. But I love them. I think I might love them all equally, but for very different reasons.
Yeah. They all have different
and it's similar
vibes.
to my character. I have a very hard time.
That's why you're a Hufflepuff.
I am. It's not because I'm indecisive. It's because I find the best things out of them, and I'm I love it because of this. So
you see the good, and you appreciate the good.
Yeah.
Well, also
that's not a cop out.
Erica, I love that you really see details that often Kara and I miss, because when you really love something, you look at it very closely in those in between moments, in those quiet moments, in those unscripted moments. Those reaction shots are always what gets you, and that's always the stuff that you end up commenting on, is I got chills just when he looked at her, or when he just stood there, it's more the simple things. But no, I totally agree that you could love all of the seasons equally, because as you're talking, I'm oh shit, is that also my opinion? I'll stick with what my gut instinct reaction when I looked at this question after I wrote it to myself, and I said self.
You're oh no, I have to do it too.
Yeah, because I was I went back and forth too. Yeah, I think season 1 will always be number 1. I don't think you can get better than that, but I have a feeling it's because of the I'm a classic I'm a classic lady, always the originals. I very rarely will say that remakes or sequels are better. And that's why I have a remake and sequel podcast. It's called Shall We Compare Thee? You should check it out if you have not already. Shameless plugs. So I think I will have to stick by season 1. You can't get any better than that. And then I'm going to go with season 3 as it's like almost equal to season 1. It's
Nice.
right up there. I started looking through all of just scrolling through the episodes, and I started to see like the White Room, and I was like, oh man, that was good. And then Love, and I'm like, oh god, that really had me. And then Sitz Probe, I was rolling in oh my god, it was so funny. And then I'm just like, Jesus damn, like the musical aspect of it, and Oliver, the focus on Oliver. And heart attack aside, because I think that we could have done without it.
I know.
Writers, if you're listening,
no more.
No more. Sorry that was loud. God, I apologize. But
the
no
ode
more.
to Fosse. The ode to Fosse. At least he didn't die like Fosse.
Right. There was that.
True.
At least we got the Fosse fever dream moment out of it. Yeah. The only reason that I will put season 2 last is because it was very easy for me to solve. I was like kind of
maybe that's why I liked it so much, because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, a lot of people
that was a big part of it.
I didn't see Jan coming. I had totally written her off and been like, let's look elsewhere. And they had me fooled. But season 2, I didn't have a podcast, and I wasn't looking online in real time. I think I watched the episode after, like, a month after it had aired, after, all the episodes had come out in entirety. So I wasn't even following it in real time. And I was casually watching season 2, and I could tell 2 or 3 episodes before the end, I was like, oh, Poppy did it. Obviously that the way that they made that guy in our catacombs clearly not a woman, I was like, it's obviously Poppy.
I know way back when we did the recap basically of season 1 and season 2, I missed, I think, the second half that we did. Did you guys talk about the names of the killers in each season?
No.
And now we have so now we have, because I remember being like, oh, I need to talk about that, and then blanked and never brought it up again.
No,
but
I think season 2, you weren't there when we recapped it. It was just me and Erica doing the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of perfect that now we can talk about it at the end of season 3, because we have 2 more names to add to it. So, I think for season 4, that obviously we need to pay very close attention to all of the character names that were given. So season 1, Jan's last name is Bellows, and she tried to, kill everyone by using the fireplaces. So Bellows ties in with that. And then Poppy's real name was Becky Butler, and that kind of thematic classic, like the butler did it, that type of thing. And also Poppies in general can be associated with death and dying and all of that. And then in this season, we have Donna and Cliff. And so Cliff is kind of the obvious one, because he pushes Ben off of a precipice down an elevator shaft like a cliff. And Donna did the poisoning, and Belladonna is a poison plant. So I was just like, I am going to look at the list of character names next season so closely and think of every possible way you could tie it with killing or murder or mysteries.
Kara is the best.
Kara, did Kara just win the podcast? Kara just won the podcast.
This is the neurodivergence, like the neurodivergent and English major urged and lawyer urged to seek patterns.
Quick question.
Quick
question. Sazz. What do you get out of her name? Even though she's not a murderer, at least we don't know. Her name is very, very unique.
But it's kind of special. I was like, Sazz.
I'll call you Segway Jones, because that's exactly where we were going after this.
Segway Jones.
Segway Jones.
I think that is one of my
always
absolutely favorite. But Sazz, I kind of see.
Well, it's very like
zazzed, and it's like it almost has an electric feel and like a buzz about it. And Sazz, every time she walks in, like she's like joking around with Charles.
I miss her so much.
I know. And poor Charles's freaking lifelong friend, basically from Brazos, his stunt double is dead in his apartment, and they're probably gonna assume he was the intended target. So I don't know, like that's gonna be really hard for them.
I just looked it up. So her last name is Pataki, right? Which
Pataki.
anyone, what does that make you think of if you were raised in the 90s, if you were a kid of the 90s?
Pataki.
Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Helga Pataki. Move it, football head.
The deep breathing. All I see is that guy sitting behind her.
What would she always call her fist? She would always be like, "Wanna meet old Bessie?"
I don't remember.
Like, "Want a knuckle sandwich?" Fucking love Helga Pataki. Yes. Cheers to you, Helga Pataki. So okay, it says it's Pataki is a Hungarian surname that literally means from Patak. Or Pataki can also translate to near a creek or someone who lived by a brook or a stream. So
interesting.
From Patak. So what do we gather from this? Brook or a stream or near a creek? Schitt's Creek?
Is Sazz short for a name?
Sazz.
Is Sazz short for another name?
It must be. I don't know. I've never heard of anyone's like given name being.
It's a very gender neutral name.
What's Joy's last name?
Yeah.
Payne.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Joy Payne.
PETA.
Yep.
That's kind of fun. That could work out no matter what they do.
Sazz is a Hindi name, which means breath or melody.
Aww,
that's a beautiful name.
Her name, literally means the breath or melody of a creek or brook.
That's a really pretty name.
It was pretty. And somebody killed her. I can't.
Terrible.
But no, Kara, you just blew my mind with those names. And we had someone, right, Erica, on when we covered Sits Probe and Kara wasn't there. We had someone write in about the last name of Donna and Cliff. What is their last name again?
It is DeMayo.
DeMayo, that's right, which means down or like failing or falling. So that's why Cliff's literal name translates to Cliff falling. So we all should have seen it come. We should have known.
Right?
We should have,
I'm looking at those names like
I was expecting another twist. Honestly, I just could not believe that it ended with Cliff being,
that clear.
Well, guess who doesn't have a last name? It's Tobbert.
I know. What is Tobbert's last name?
Tobbert's stupid head.
Jones. Smith. It's just something.
Yeah.
Inconsequential.
Joy's last name is Payne.
Yeah,
you were
right.
That
is gonna be.
That's hilarious.
We'll see what happens. But I want to talk about the shooting.
Yeah, so let's talk about Sazz. The segue.
Poor Sazz. Poor
obviously
Sazz.
she's mistaken for Charles, right? What did Sazz have to tell Charles? We do we think, yeah.
Here's the
likely.
Don't make assumptions.
Likely, maybe.
I will tell you why I say that. Here's the thing. At first glance, I will say I was not looking at the screen when Sazz got shot initially, and for a split second, when she walks in, it is 100% Charles or a man that you can see the outline, like you see Steve Martin's chin or a man's chin, and I was just like, oh. They didn't shoot Charles. There's no way they shot Charles. And then I looked back in time to see her on the ground. And so I rewound it. And I was like, was there a silencer? But I think it's the glass. It's the noise of the bullet coming in through the glass, because she's shot in the chest and she turns towards the window. And it isn't until she steps in front of the window that she's shot. And as she's turning, like a split second of hearing that glass, she's shot and down. And I was like, okay, I think it's much more likely that she shot through that window. That's why they showed us the angle, because she's shot in the chest. If she was shot by someone standing in front of her, there would be no bullet hole in the window perpendicular. Yeah. So I was like, okay, if it's that type of, it's in a building, it's a dark room, you would need some sort of like high precision, high caliber, like very powerful rifle in order to do that, like a sniper quality rifle, which also made me think of the assassination thing, because that seems like a hired professional hit to me, unless someone just happens to enjoy shooting rifles in their free time. That's not that rare. I'm surrounded by people that love doing that in Texas.
But not in New York City.
No. But in order to shoot through a window like that, that is not a simple shot. That is a precision shot. You have to know how a bullet travels through glass. You have to know what angle to get it at. So if somebody is looking into Charles's apartment with a scope in like their sniper rifle, that same person maybe could have been looking at them all gathered around up in Oliver's apartment when Joy just so happens to send a text message to Charles right at that moment, and he looks at his phone. So I immediately went to, okay, Joy's in on it. She texted Charles and is working with this sniper so they could confirm who Charles was. And Charles and Sazz both leave the room, and then Sazz goes down into Charles's apartment. That they fake us out because we see Charles come back in. The sniper also would have been faked out because they can't see Charles go off and Sazz go down to the apartment. So I was assuming, okay, if Charles is the target and they see what they think is Charles walk in, then there's that precision shot of him. But then I was like, well, did they know it was Sazz? Could they also somehow be able to see that it was Sazz who actually left to get the wine? Which is why this overthinking thing is just going to drive me crazy the entirety of this show's run.
But this is the thing. No one at the party seems to be aware that Sazz has left. Even everyone thinks that Charles is gone. So at some point, Charles and Sazz went off together and were talking, and everyone else went back to the party.
Oh, like you go get the wine, or I'll go get the wine. You stay here, or something like that. So
Sazz is like, I got a key to your house. She's like, I may have made a key. I may not have, but I also may have. So
well, and that's kind of the other thing is we hear immediately, we get Sazz very briefly. She comes in and they're like, how did you get in here? And she's like, maybe I have a key to all of your places. So Sazz is able to access the building pretty much inexplicably, as if she's a resident, and come and go. But does everybody know that? Or is it just our little trio? So if someone was trying to kill Charles, they would have no reason to think that it would be Sazz coming in there dressed exactly like him. All that is. So most likely, logically, it seems like they were intending to kill Charles. So we get comment from Sazz. And
Should we watch the scene? All right, here. Let me show you. Let us look. Put on your looky glasses. So right now, right here, we've just gotten a text from Scott Bakula. See, look.
Yeah.
They're at the party. And then we see this outdoor shot panning up to the mirror. I mean, panning up to the window. What?
It's like the text from Joy where Steve Martin, I think it's very important that you pointed out earlier that Steve Martin improvised that line where
that Scott Bakula line was improv by Steve Martin in the moment. Yeah, he said, I have a romantic feeler text from Joy, and everyone's like, oh, what'd she say? Scott Bakula says hi, which is so savage off Joy. Like, how rude is that?
That's
like
funny.
Charles is he's obviously still, he's not over Joy, and the wedding dress is making him cry. And so if you're Joy, like you are now with this, you're now with Scott Bakula, and so you're going to text your ex.
She just happens to text him randomly right then.
Yeah.
So is that the window he was shot from, the one that we're looking at? Because I see one lit window across.
I was like,
yes, lighted window. Yes. Okay. So let us watch.
That angle would be weird.
And this is a man, you're saying? Yeah, you're right. It does look like. You're right.
Like, that's not Jane Lynch.
It might have been. I might have seen boobs. Did I see a little bit of boobs?
said,
oh, the drama. Yeah, it doesn't give us much, but
nobody died this time. I really hope.
You're right though about that being a man when whoever it is walks in the door, because that
irritated me.
Yeah, you're right. It's true. Yeah, it irritates me too. Damn.
But like, all we get is Sazz coming in, acknowledging she can get into their apartments, and saying, "Hey, listen, like I got something I need to talk to you about when you have a second. It's a little sensitive." Joy texts randomly at that point in time, which I think is weird. Or is it too obvious? I don't know. But
yeah.
Then poor Sazz goes to get wine and doesn't come back.
She got bunnied.
For sure, all I can say is on my wish list, which is my next question, wish list for season 4. I hope that this means we get to see fucking Jan. Please bring me Jan. And you have to, right?
No, Jan. Did we have Jan this season at all?
No,
I think we just had reference to her.
Yeah,
we didn't actually see her.
Because we had Jan last season. We had like one episode with Jan last season.
Yeah, she was in season 2. So I think definitely Amy Ryan is coming back at least for one episode. We were gonna have a first opening scene, season 4 funeral, Sazz funeral, right? Has to be. So
Joy
Jan's gonna be there.
Would have to be there too, because she met Charles on the set of Brazos as the makeup artist. She knew Sazz.
Yeah.
So that could be a fun little
reunion. When I was looking on IMDb, I hope this is not spoilery. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like Julian, I'm mispronouncing his name. Chihi. It's Tim Kono. It says 2021 dash. Like it looks like he could come back. But Andrea Martin is only 2022 to 2023. Is that intentional?
That is weird.
Yeah. So I don't know.
IMDb can be weird though, because different actors
that is true.
maintain their IMDb pages.
Same with like Nathan Lane. Like Nathan Lane only said from 2021 to 2022. So
yeah.
But I feel like
anything else though that we want to see? I want to see more Detective Williams. I want to see more Howard. I want to see more Howard and Jonathan together. And also, I was thinking, wouldn't it be great to see Howard as the building manager, like taking Bunny's place? It has to rightly.
I think it would fit.
Rightly so, right? Yeah,
I like that.
I mean, he replaced her in the opening credits, so now he can replace her.
It's fitting. Yeah, I had that thought, and I'm like, oh, please bring me this.
I hope he stays as the opening credits. I hope it stays with him and Seven.
Yeah.
Although it could be Uma.
God, I want more Uma.
More Uma, please.
I want more Arconia in general. I want more trio time.
More Lester.
I want more residents.
Yeah, more trio time for sure. The top of my list says no more Jesse Williams, please. Thank you. No. That's literally what my notes say.
I wouldn't hate if we got more Tobert.
No more Tobert, please. No, don't listen.
Just a little bit.
Don't listen to this crazy person. Showrunners, John Hoffman, because I know you're a friend of the pod. I know you're listening.
I would love to see Teddy Demas come back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course.
Because, and then I went down a big rabbit hole thinking about possible theories for season 4. And part of me doesn't even want to say it, but part of me wants to put it out there just in case part of it's right.
Put it in the universe.
But it bothers me a little bit thinking that it's as simplistic again as, okay, they thought Sazz was Charles. Charles was the real target. Who could possibly want Charles dead? I mean, Jan seems to have gotten over him fairly quickly by getting involved with Sazz, but maybe she blames him for being locked up, whatever. Or maybe Joy is actually a little crazy and is not thrilled about.
I kind of hope not, and I don't want him to have
Charles,
another
I know.
murderous ex-girlfriend.
That's the problem with it. That's why I was like, so maybe it was actually somebody going after Sazz, or it's a red herring completely that we're thinking Jay, like Joy or Jan, and it's something completely unrelated. Like maybe Lucy got into trouble or something.
I don't know why you're saying Jay, because that did not look like a Jay to me necessarily. I mean, yes, if Agatha
I was just referencing what y'all had said earlier as if it was a Jay that she was drawing.
Yeah,
but
in Agatha
Bakula.
Christie, in the Agatha Christie novel, it is a Jay.
Chef
so that's
Bakula.
Why.
Because and that's the other thing is Joy and Jan were the first two people to pop into my head just because, like, who else wants Charles dead? But he also has, that's too easy.
Yeah, it's too easy.
It's way too easy. So I was like, well, did Sazz get into some sort of like gambling trouble or something like that? And I was like, what if it's some sort of strangers on a train situation? Because when Teddy Demas got out of prison and saw Oliver on that elevator, like he basically threatened to get him again, like, you know, I'm gonna get you at some point.
I like
And Teddy had his whole grave robbing business. Like he would know someone to like hire to kill.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could see that being part of it. And if Sazz somehow upset Jan, it's like, all right, like when she gets out of prison, it's like, I'll kill Oliver, you kill mine, like you kill Sazz. Like,
yeah.
I don't know,
I don't think,
but I'm
I think that
excited.
is, it's a very lovely thought experiment. I don't think it's going to happen, but
Nope.
I just want more Jan. So anyway, I get more Jan
thing.
is fine with me. Please and thank you.
I do not think it's possible to predict what will happen with until we start to see season 4.
Yes. And our listeners we have some marvelous FeedCRACK to crack
Yay,
into.
FeedCRACK.
That's going to bring up more. I think people have been even leaving more things that I haven't read yet about what they think is happening in season 4. So all I will say is that I like that what's going on with Mabel is still unsettled. We don't know where she's going to live. I love that. It gives her somewhere to go for season 4. I really hope that there's more Theo involved, even as a friend. That's fine. Because apparently, you know, all we know is she's still living with Theo right now. I don't know where James Caverly is in this finale, why he couldn't be there. I don't know. Bummer. Shame. What a shame. Wish we could have seen him. He's probably hopefully busy you know, doing other jobs. But yeah, the only thing I will say is I don't necessarily need Mabel or Charles to be romantically attached to anyone. More Charles than Mabel. I'm hoping for a love interest for Charles. I don't know if I necessarily want that to be Joy. Not the way that they left things. That was very unhealthy and I didn't approve of it. But definitely I need bring back Lucy, please. I loved her.
Oh yeah.
I prefer that like platonic little relationships or person.
Yeah, giving Charles like a little buddy.
As much as I want to say for the finale of FeedCRACK, I think I need to go.
Yeah, Mama's got to go to bed. Mama's got babies to take care of. Yeah,
all right. My dip is on the way.
You know, dip is on the way.
I'm gonna dip out.
Nice. Nailed it.
That works. Appropriate.
All right, bye, baby cakes.
I love you guys.
Happy bye.
Okay. So we have just made the executive decision to do a separate FeedCRACK episode. So we're going to end this one here and join us over there for FeedCRACK. Let's go get high, y'all. Yeah.
So much good stuff.
Oh, there's so much goodness. I can't wait. Nom nom. Feed me, mama.
Every time.
Sevelin Marie Morris. Nom nom.
Sevelin Marie Morris.